Welcome to this thought leadership interview with Alexandre Ricard. My name is Jack Parrott from Euractiv, and I'm delighted to have the CEO of Pernod Ricard with us here today. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much, and I'm delighted to be here today with you.
Let's get right into this. Let's start to talk about the import-export industry. Your business is massively involved in that. Obviously, it's the core of your business. Your products have also been sort of embroiled in some of these trade disputes we've seen over the years. Can you give us your take on it? Can you please perhaps explain what the role of the EU is here, how you see all of this at the moment?
Listen, I think the EU has a big role to play in. As an organization, Pernod Ricard, we've always, in our history, been supportive of the EU and its vision of free trade around the world. Our business, by the way, is an origins-based business. So we produce whiskey in Ireland, we produce whiskey in Scotland. By the way, we produce whiskey in the United States, we produce cognac in France, and gin in a number of countries of origin. To sell and market these products around the world, to address people's desires and needs and so on and so forth. And this business can only flourish and create value for all the stakeholders, including consumers, through free trade. We are celebrating this year, as Pernod Ricard, our 50th anniversary. 50th anniversary where two companies, Pernod and Ricard, got together with that vision in mind to have a global free trade business within the wine and spirits industry. And by the way, we're celebrating at the same time this year our 30th anniversary here in Brussels. Back in the day, it's my uncle, Patrick Ricard, who decided to open a branch here right next to the European Commission.
Talk to me a bit about this, because what can the EU do and what do you see its role in doing when we see these complications related to tariffs, products like yours being targeted by tariffs across the board? There's big issues around this from many of the geopolitical players. How do you view the EU's role there?
I think there are two things. The first one is more of a philosophical approach to the world, which is exactly what I was talking about. Global free trade. I'm a big believer that not a single country can be specifically good at everything. I think that countries, I think that markets decide what they want to specialize into and be extremely good at it. And I think that the world globally will benefit from every single market's strength. And by the way, in a reciprocal way, every single market's weakness can be compensated by somebody else's strength. And this is what really creates value for the world globally. Right now, we're going through instability, of course, which I strongly believe is not going to go on forever, because at some point we'll find a new balance in this world. And this is where the EU has a big role to play. What will this new balance look like? What sectors will we specialize in? What sectors will we depend on others upon? And this will go through new alliances around the world, new trade agreements around the world, and redefined existing agreements around the world.
Your products are rooted in the agriculture industry. And the Green Deal that was definitely a flagship of the first von der Leyen Commission, a real priority for the European Union, and still continuing now. It's affected a lot of agriculture businesses and products and the way in which they're made. How's it affected you, and how do you view your position as a company within all of that?
So 3 comments. Yes, we are rooted in specific regions, and I was mentioning we're an origins industry. We cannot relocalize, we cannot reshore. Our products have an origin. There are other industries, by the way, where we can produce whatever it is that is produced anywhere in the world. It is not our case. We bring origins to people around the world. So comment number one, in that future world we're talking about, we are part of an industry which has origins and is deeply rooted in different regions around the world. Point two, going to the Green Deal. We are impacted by the climate and by climate change. We operate in roughly 350 terroirs around the world. All of our products come from Mother Nature. We work principally with approximately 120 ingredients from around the world. And there is no doubt we share the same objectives as the European Union when it comes down to the climate and the environment. My third and final comment, however, is although I fully agree with the objectives and we fully comply on that front and have ambitious goals, I think that the means to get there, they're probably more straightforward and simple ways rather than finding a very complicated route to get there.
So when you come to Brussels, you are demanding simplification of legislation, specifically Green Deal legislation, from the people in the institutions. Is that?
That is absolutely correct. I say two things. I say, number one, I fully share the objectives. Number two, I don't share the path to get there because it's too complicated.
One of the other things that is discussed here in Brussels, especially in the European Parliament at the moment, is the calls for more stringent regulations on alcohol, which would affect you clearly in a big way. How do you react to that? What do you say?
Listen, we were the first ones in our industry to come up with a QR code references on every single bottle we produce everywhere in the world, which gives our consumers around the world direct access to all the required information on our products. Our vision for Pernod Ricard is créateur de convivialité. Créateur de convivialité is all about finding the right balance. We do not believe in excessive consumption. By the way, to be honest, I personally don't believe in any kind of excess, one way or another. I believe in people finding the right balance and having the right information to make the right and informed choices. I live myself personally a very balanced life. I enjoy my drink or two on a regular basis, and I find this really great. So at the end of the day, and we have very strong policies, by the way, this glass, drink more water, is part of our, basically our marketing, which is to tell people, just pace yourselves as well, and make sure you drink water. Water is really important. But we're not there telling people we forbid you to do whatever. We really encourage people to find their right balance in life, which I think is the number one ingredient to a long-lasting, healthy life.
Let's touch a bit more on the EU single market. You mentioned it a little bit already. The single market is often quite a theoretical thing that especially in EU spheres, we talk about the single market and its benefits. But for you, it's a real practical reality as a company. Can you explain how and why?
No, the EU market changed a lot of things for Europe. I mean, we're a 450 million consumer market in the world. We're the number one consumer-driven powerhouse in the world. Imagine if things were a lot more simple to operate in that market, how much power that would unleash.
What are the simplifications that could be done?
Well, I think I still think we can simplify a lot further. I still think talking about the Green Deal, that despite the fact that many of us, if not all, are on the same line in terms of the objectives we want to achieve, the fact that the means to get there should be a lot more simpler. It's a little bit like what we were mentioning earlier on, like empowering people based on information. I think, big companies and medium-sized companies across Europe are fully aware of what's going on from a climate change point of view and have a view on the long-term impacts on their businesses. I don't know a single board that hasn't done the exercise and asked its executive team to work on what's going to happen, do scenario analysis, and work on that over time. I was saying we're celebrating our 50th anniversary, and I look forward to the next 50 years. And this involves as well having the right roadmap in terms of environment to get there. And I think everybody would like to get there, but not through stringent regulations where the cost and benefit equation doesn't really work. And I get a sense right now that people understand that.
Mm. And that cost and benefit is also related to other global players. When we talk about the Chinas or the US of the world, how does the EU fit in with those things from you as a company perspective? You're selling into different markets.
We are, and we're a global company. And are we talking fair play globally speaking? When we see that there are different sets of regulations depending on where you operate, the answer is no. If I take the notable example of CSRD and having European big companies report in that degree of detail at global level and being the only ones compelled to do so, I'm not sure it's something which is great. But beyond that, again, getting that kind of work done versus just working on initiatives which are making the world a better place to operate in is a hefty challenge, which is probably not creating the value we'd like to see create for all stakeholders, including the world.
Now, you personally, but also, as we mentioned, your company have been interacting with EU policymakers here in Brussels for a long time. What are your experiences around that? What are your lessons? How do you approach operating and approaching policymakers, lawmakers, people writing the laws that affect your company so heavily?
Let's be fair, it's not easy. It's not an easy job for these people, to be fair to them. We're talking about 27 different countries that need to align on different topics in a world where it's very simple to complicate things and very complicated to simplify things. And everything might start with a good intention, but once it goes through the whole machine of making it happen, what we may end up with is a lot of complexity. But like in every organization, I think you have ups and downs from that point of view. And I get a clear sense that people have come to the realization that after all that extra complexity added to the system, there is a need for simplification.
Alexandre Ricard, thank you so much for joining us on this thought leadership interview.
Well, thank you.